Welcome to State of the Realms, your weekly newscast for everything Camelot Unchained. I'm your host, Swiper, and today I'll be covering Mark's weekly wrap-up April 5th, 2019. The broadcast was a bit shorter than normal, so I'll try and pull out some of my favorite topics. So without further ado, let's get started. Tech, and more tech. There was a lot of tech weaved in and out of this broadcast today, so I'll touch some of the ones I thought were most interesting. Starting with mesh simplification, building destruction, and building server. What does this all mean? Well, it means they are working on the keep so it performs or acts correctly in the siege scenario. I'm thinking this means when players are interacting with the keep, whether it's firing, siege, or standing on their destruction, they're working on to make this more realistic. Now, don't quote me on that, but that's kind of the impression I got from the broadcast today. All right, next item, abilities. Bug fixes were put in for abilities, implementation of abilities. They were also looking at the support design and how support classes will work to help determine the tech requirements for support classes. I always appreciate a good support in my group. Okay, moving on. VFX lighting effects. A distortion shader is being worked on. This is going to help some of the spells that you're going to be seeing from the Wave Weaver and the Warden. And the last two I want to go over are the manual aiming of Siege. Now they're supposed to make this a bit smoother to operate and move around, and also targeting a distance. So this is for all you clickers like myself. When you're trying to target something at distance, it's supposed to be a little bit easier and work a little bit better. Okay, moving away from the tech. Number 2, love for the crafters. Subparts have been added to the crafting system. What I mean by subparts is crafters can make hilts. They can also make blades. Now, I'm not sure if they can combine the hilts and the blades to make a sword, but this is something I'd like to ask next week. And a bonus. A player in the beta asked if there's going to be a dying system. And no, not like dying like, ugh. I mean like dying like coloring your gear. And the answer to that is, of course, yes. All right, number 3, work in progress, UI orders plus guilds. The team has been working on an order UI and has begun hooking it up on the back end. The UI will give players tools to manage their order in-game. So if you're unfamiliar with orders, I believe it's just another name for guilds. And the last one is kind of a fan favorite for me. They discuss about how they have new art for Cloaks, and the reason why I brought this up was when I played Dark Age of Camelot with some of my buddies. One of my favorite things, and don't laugh at me, but one of my favorite things is having a cloak and also being able to the backslash or / hood option and actually putting your hood up. Such a simple design, but never really found in any other MMOs, and it's one thing that I'll always remember. Or, one of the things I'll always remember. Okay, so moving on to the Q&A section. So I took 3 questions since this was a shorter broadcast. So number 1, to encourage open field RVR, will Camelot Unchained ever require soul shards to power everything like the Vox, the stabilizers, and the keep shields? So there's a couple good points Mark made. The first one, he agreed and said, yes, this would encourage more RVR. The downside is the imbalance of realms, which could happen. So if one side has a lot less than the other side, then the side with a lot less people are going to have a lot more difficulty powering their Voxes and their stabilizers, their keep shields, because it's going to be more difficult to get soul shards. He said that he would rather not use a system like this. He said it wasn't a bad system. He just said he would really rather not use it and would hope never to really have to use it. All right, question number 2. Would it be possible to create our own emblems for the guilds? So this was a really long and detailed answer, so I'll do my best to shorten it and get to the meat. So originally, CU wanted to allow players to import their designs, and CU would vet each design. As of right now, according to Article 13, this just can't happen. If someone were to upload something that belongs to somebody else, this puts responsibility on CU, and that would require a whole lot of steps on CU's side. Mark goes into detail about how they would have to purchase insurance and how they'd have to vet every single design. And watching this video, you could see how maybe frustrated he was. He even was really careful with the words he used about all of this. They completely understand that this is something extremely important to players, and they want to provide a tool that allows players to make their own emblem. But I think overall, what I want to stress here is that to me, it seems like they're disappointed that this is something that really they can't do. I think this is something they really wanted to do, something they've talked about in the past, but you could kind of see it. And it's hard to describe, so I would recommend just watch the video and you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, and the last question for today. Do you plan on creating doors without the aspect of doors? Meaning, are we going to have a secret door on the side or in the back where enemies can't see? So this way we could flank the enemy. Mark basically says, yes, he thinks this would be a cool idea and he would love to have it. All right, that's going to do it for me today. I do want to mention one more thing before I head out. Mark says that he understands a lot of players from North America have not been able to jump into some of these beta testing due to the hours of the actual testing. He said one day next week he'll be working late to run the servers, so for us NA gamers, we'll be able to jump in. So if you're like me, I work till 5 or 6 most days, and sometimes they test at 2 or 3 or 12. So it makes it very hard for someone like myself to actually get on and test. The only times I usually get on to test is when I get that email and I'm working from home and I take a couple minutes away from work to jump in. But so again, thank you for watching. I highly recommend you check out the weekly wrap up. If you'd like me to ask any questions on Friday, please post in the comments below. If you found this helpful, please let me know. And if there's anything else you'd like me to cover, just let me know as well. Thanks again. I'll talk to you all next week.